80% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
I'm sorry if I'm backlit. I'm up visiting my mom in Northern California, and I sort of couldn't resist this gorgeous view. Yes. Anyway, we are talking about revision tips this week, and I have two that I have found very, very important to learn. The funny thing about writing a novel, revising a novel for me, is that I really had no idea what I was doing. It's funny, if I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or even, say, an opera singer, there's a certain amount of training that goes into those careers, and I feel like writing, in some ways, it's one of those things you can sort of pick up without any formal training, something that I definitely did. Doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be good at it, but I learned how to make my writing better, and I did that by learning how to self-edit. I have an amazing book that really changed my life in this regards. I don't have it with me, so I will show you a photo now. Self-editing for fiction writers literally saved me as a writer. And the two most important tips that I took from this book are avoid repetition and resist the urge to explain. I tend to repeat myself a lot in general. If you've ever met me and we've had a conversation at a bar, there's a good chance that I've told the same story more than once. It's just sort of my personality to say things, maybe forget that I've said them, repeat them again, make sure that it's reinforced, that you understand what I'm talking about. I do that with words. I'll get a word sort of fixated upon, and it ends up like 40 times in my manuscript. I was on this kick with a manuscript 2 books ago, where theoretically turned up like 12 times in the manuscript, and I no idea why. So keeping an eye out for repetition of theme, of words, of phrase structure and construction is really, really important, especially in long streams of dialogue. I find myself doing a lot of blah, 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 she said, blah, 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 he said, all the way down a page. And what that does to me as a reader is make me aware of the writing, because now I've noticed that there is this repeated pattern. So sort of breaking it up with movement, with independent activities that your characters are doing, instead of necessarily using a dialogue tag every time, really helps. Resist the urge to explain. This one is huge, I think, for writers. Especially if you're writing something with a difficult world building you have to do. We want you to understand every bit of backstory, every nuance, everything that's going through our characters' heads, to the point where we tell you too much. And I think most writers suffer from too much as opposed to too little. And we find ourselves explaining every decision that our characters make, every bit of the world that maybe is or is not important to the story. And again, it takes the reader out of the actual experience and almost sort of makes them aware of the writing. So when I have a manuscript and I go through with my red pen and do my hard copy edits, I'll write too much, which is resist that urge to explain. There's too much here. It needs to be streamlined, needs to be cut back. Repetition, resist the urge to explain. I think I just broke both of those rules in this vlog.